you've had the delight to meet Mr. Liam Gallagher.
Okay.
Whether it's because of this thing that you've got going on, the mashup stuff, or whether it's because of just a random bumping into him in the boozer somewhere.
Okay.
But I want to know
That's what happened.
Yeah.
Actually, that's happened, but carry on.
Has it actually?
Yeah.
Oh God, you got to tell us the story. I'll carry on, but we've got to hear that story. Right then, team. Welcome back to the Scratch Record podcast. Today we are joined by a group that we've actually had in the playlist for months now. Like back in when we first started, we entered them in, and now recently they've seen this incredible spike. They've played some amazing festivals. They've had some incredible singles and EPs that we've definitely shouted out before. Supported artists like Jess Glynn. And their recent spike has been from a Wonderwall Small Town Boy mashup, which now has hit 3 million streams. Today we have Max from Deco joined on the call. How are we, mate?
Yeah, all good. Thanks. How you doing?
Yeah, all is very good.
All good, mate. All good. Well, I think we've got plenty to get into, but what we thought we'd do is we'd stick with like chronological order. So we'll get into Deco to start with.
Sounds good.
And we normally put it back to sort of the start of the band, how you got started, who's in the band, how that sort of came to fruition right at the start.
So we're kind of like two bands that mixed together. So we've all been in different bands, sort of leading up to this band. And the two bands that we were in, I think we supported each other, and then our guitarist left. So I asked John to join from another band. I poached him.
Nice.
and then eventually their singer joined us as our bassist. So and I mean they still do stuff in the background, but just kind of creatively. But yeah, and that's kind of how it all came about. But yeah, me and the original drummer, we started the band at school originally. You know, not Deco, but whatever it was. So I've been doing this since I was about 13, maybe.
Oh wow!
So yeah, a little while. So yeah, I guess Deco was probably started sort of 2017 time, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So I was looking back for your discography, and I'll be honest, like Chances was a song that I sort of knew the best, but I didn't realize that was your first single, or it is the first one that went on Spotify. So were you sort of gigging leading up to that release, or was that like it released, it did well, and then you sort of moved on from there?
Well, we did have some early tunes, but they were like more demos, and they did used to be on Spotify. But then, when obviously like management and label gets involved, they advise you to take certain stuff down. So yeah, Chances was our first kind of, I guess, mildly successful single. Like people really kind of cottoned onto it and enjoyed it on like a on an independent level.
Yeah,
it did pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great song. I think it's got that. That was the first one that I heard, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this is good." I think even just that opening and then the sort of isolated vocals in it, you can see why it would catch people. So, because that's still sort of your most successful one. Did you have like a bit of a big blow up from that single going out, or was it just like it did all right and we're just going to keep going?
Yeah, well, we got quite lucky. We did like a tour with a band called Kovic back when it was released, or just before it was released. So we like did that, and then we announced that we were releasing this single, and then we announced a few shows. So like it all kind of snowballed from that, really. But I mean, yeah, it's done well, and it didn't actually get on any like big playlists or anything on Spotify. It just hit the algorithm really well. So it like it was in everyone, like loads of people's Discover Weeklies, and that's why it's the most popular tune. And it's still obviously one of the favourites live. So yeah, it's stuck there at the top still.
Nice, I like that. So are you like Nottingham, Derby way? I was trying to work it out. Like what city are you based?
So we're based in London now, but we're all from sort of Derbyshire, Staffordshire. So like the two guys that joined slightly later on, before Deco were a thing, they're from a place called Ashbourne, and I was born in Derby, but grew up in a place called Tutbury, which is on the Staffordshire Derbyshire border. Right. So yeah, we all kind of met in Nottingham.
So that when you were gigging early with Deco, was that in London then?
A mixture of like Nottingham and London. They were kind of our two scenes, because I was in London, but the other guys were in Nottingham.
Okay, I'll get you. Cool. So what was that like, trying to sort of break that early scene? Did you have any poor gigs to start with, or was it quite quick?
Yeah, loads. I mean, we did loads of countless gigs to not many people, but it's just the way it is for a lot of bands. Unless you kind of, unless you get picked up at one gig and then suddenly get, poached by some big management, and then they put you in front of thousands of people supporting people. But yeah, when you're trying to do, it's all a bit backwards. You're doing headline gigs to not many people when you should be really, in hindsight, you should be trying to get support slots, but you don't really learn that until you get going, really. But yeah,
because you've got into some fairly decent festivals as well, haven't you? With Why Not, Truck, and Isle of Wight, as well as did you do Dot to Dot as well?
Yeah, I've done Dot to Dot quite a few times. Yeah,
because we love Dot to Dot. One of the lads that we knock about with played on some of the smaller stages. Elliot Williams played on it, I think, a couple of years back. But what was it like trying to get onto them sort of festival sort of lineups? Because it's a completely different style of crowd as well.
I guess early on it was like me sort of being, emailing the bookers and stuff like that, trying to find out their emails. Even at one stage, we even pretended to have a manager and like signed off the email from our pretend manager. that seemed to work. That seemed to work for a bit, but then we met our manager now, and he's a promoter in the live side of things. So he's got a few inroads, and yeah, basically that's how we kind of work now. We've got a booking agent now, Solo Music they're called, and they look after like Beyonce and Justin Timberlake and huge artists. Yeah,
Jesus Christ,
that is some big names.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just name dropping. No, yeah, they've got some smaller bands too. Yeah, it's quite a big one. I think Little Mix is their main UK one. So yeah, they're pretty big, pretty big agent. But yeah, we got that. It's really annoying. We got our agent at the start of last year, so we were all ready to. I know we were about to announce it, and then our tours got cancelled because of COVID and stuff. So we've not really reaped the benefits of having an agent yet, because we know last year we were meant to play Glastonbury and Isle of Wight again. We were meant to support like Lewis Capaldi on one of the outdoor shows. So like he started to kind of bring in the gigs, but we actually never got to play any of them. So yeah.
Oh, that's wild. That must be like, is it exciting though, knowing that that's all sort of to come a bit? Like you're guaranteed, obviously, but you just got that in your back of your head. So you're like, when we can get back out, there'll be stuff there.
Yeah, kind of. To be honest, like I had actually until now, it started to feel a little bit anxious, because we'd kind of lost a bit of momentum, because a lot of our momentum comes from playing live, because people love coming to the shows, and people come to the shows that might not have necessarily heard us before because their friends have dragged them along and so on. And we kind of built our following in a really organic way. And we do okay on Instagram and stuff, but we were really struggling with kind of TikTok and finding our niche. And so in a weird way, I was thinking, when gigs get back to normal, are people going to come to our gigs? Are we going to get the same opportunities again? So I feel like slightly more comfortable about that, and that the fact that that's going to happen if things go back to normal because of what this video has done, and there's a slight increase in interest in our band again.
Yeah,
so maybe, but that might have been me just overthinking it. Maybe people were always interested in it; it would have been fine. But
yeah, I think it's a weird one, because I've found, like, talking to these artists that we're getting involved, some of them seem like they're really anxious and have the same view as what you did at that time, but some of them have also been like, well, every fucker wants to go back to a gig, like everyone wants to go. Like, so I know me and Joe are definitely buzzing to get back out, just traveling about, going to live music, and everyone's kind of missed it because that thing that they might have turned down, now they'd never even think about turning it down when it hopefully all goes back to some normality.
Yeah, I think the reason why, because we've obviously been doing this a little while, and a pattern we started to notice was like we'd see the same people in the cities, but then this might have been before they'd gone to uni or something, and then we go back to that city and none of the same faces are there. So you'd almost especially in Nottingham, we'd almost have to rebuild our kind of fan base in that city.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, if 2 years go by, those people might not be in that city anymore, etc. So, yeah, or they might be listening to different things, or so people change, and that's the fact. You've got to try and stay relevant and appealing to those people that you've got. Keep them engaged. It's quite a difficult. Maybe that is overthinking it, but it's I've definitely noticed it. You know, people maybe sort of 4 years ago that came to our shows in Nottingham probably wouldn't now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, because especially in a university city, you find that people come and go. The rotations of people in and out, and whether they go on placement or year abroad as well, kind of fucks up the rotation of who you'd normally get at a gig, what faces you'd normally see. But I also think that's part of the fun of trying to stay in the eyes, or stay in the limelight, or stay relevant to some extent. Like, it means you have to kind of like look at doing something different for people to keep recognizing your face in them ways. Like what you lot have done with these mashups. I want to kind of touch on it. Might as well touch on it now because we mentioned it a few times. But this lockdown seemed to have allowed you to be a little bit more creative in that respect and try newer things, which, if the world was normal, you might not have released the mashups and stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Like I said that. I can't remember who I said that to now, but I thought, that's right. I had an interview with Talk Radio, which is like quite a political radio station. But it's one of the guys who presents one of the shows is an MP, John Nicholson, I think his name is. And he touched on that, and I said, if the lockdown wasn't a thing, then this wouldn't have happened. Really, there's so much kind of. We've been feeling a little bit of pressure from our manager because he's been trying to get us to, find our TikTok niche, and because I think it's so important that labels look at it, and it's kind of a new way of gauging a band's following. Like, we can't use our live following as strongly as we could before, because that's not the way the music industry is at the minute. So we had it wasn't pressure, but every now and again he sent a text saying, how's the TikTok looking, guys? And how it all started was I did I just, for a bit of fun, I did like an 80s version of the sea shanty, and put that on TikTok, and it did okay, and I actually enjoyed doing it, whereas some of the TikToks I felt like it's a bit of a chore because it's not really myself or whatever. But this was like literally me being daft, which is always fun. So I thought I'll see if I can do that again, but to like a big song, and that's how it came about, really. And I sent it to our manager, and he said, he's like, "Oh my god, love this! I'm going to make this go big on Twitter."
And he did, to be fair.
It's a bit of an understatement, really. But
we need someone to say that to us, if they could help us make that go big on Twitter.
And that's great. So let's go into that a little bit more then. So when you picked like Wonderwall and Small Town Boy, were they just songs that you liked and you just thought this could work, or did you think particularly they're going to work with the 80s style?
It was honestly, I could say I thought about it really detailed, but I really didn't. Like, it actually came about because we were discussing doing a certain. Actually, I won't mention it because we might still do it, but we were going to do a certain like cover, and the manager texted me saying, "Luke," I'm just going to call him Luke because that's his name. He texted me saying, "Have you done this yet?" And it was snowing. It was 2 weeks ago, last Sunday. 2 weeks ago on a Sunday, and he texted me saying, "Have you done this yet?" And I thought, "Oh God, I can't be bothered. I really don't want to do that. But I don't want to do it." Which means it's probably not going to be any good if I do it.
Your heart in it.
And I thought, what if I just do like another 80s like version of a song? So my initial idea was to do like a 80s version of a big song, and I don't know why Wonderwall jumped to me. I think Arctic Monkeys was the first one that came to me, and then I don't know where Wonderwall came from, but I used to love Wonderwall when I was a kid. Like I remember my mum bought me like a little toy guitar, and I was playing it the wrong way around, and I had some sunglasses, and I was pretending to be the Oasis basically when I was like 3 or 4, and then so I guess it was kind of in my head, and my initial kind of intention was never to mash it up with something. I was kind of thinking, what style 80s song can I sort of be influenced by to put this Wonderwall 80s version together? But then I found that it worked so well over Brunsky Beat. I thought, well, I might as well just do this as a mashup now. So yeah, it was really weird. When I'd exported it from my machine, the video, and I never normally do this. I normally kind of finish something and then leave it for ages before I ever watch it again. I'll upload it and then not watch it just because it's, I don't know, I always feel like it's a bit vain to kind of watch it. But I watched that like 20 times before I put it out. I was just like,
there's
something about this. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Oh, that's sick. So did you edit the video?
Maybe people seem to. Yeah, like I can show you this. I can't show you, but yeah, like this, I've got the Angels project in front of me here.
Nice.
Premiere Pro. It's just I'm not very good at using the mobile like apps. I sound like such an old man.
No, I get you.
In terms of the video editing apps, I'm really kind of comfortable with this software. So it's just like stick to what you know.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. We did a load of we'd started because TikTok's one of the ones where we can see how important it is for artists and whoever you are. If you want to try and blow up nowadays, like TikTok does really fucking help. And we were looking at it, and over Christmas we did like an advent calendar of interviews, of like short form interviews. But obviously most people do all their TikTok editing over on their phone, on either like the TikTok app or like a Premiere Rush or some of the other bits like that. I can't do it because my phone's always smashed and I feel like my thumbs are too big. So you always mispress everything and stuff like that. So I run everything through Premiere Pro. Every bit of editing we do, like
it's just quicker to me. But TikTok's a weird one. It's like it is the purest form of social media. Like it is. And I've kind of reanalyzed it. I reanalyzed it before this went big, this whole mashup thing. But I feel like Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, they're a bit like, I don't know, like a mouse. Like we've all become like conditioned to use this mouse, even though it's like probably not the most natural way to like use a computer. The most natural way is to actually get a pen and draw on the screen and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But that somehow seemed weird to me doing that.
I get it.
TikTok's like the same thing, I guess. It's like it's a really natural form of social media, but because I think people like artists, especially that are struggling to kind of adapt to it, it's because we're so like used to putting like a branded image out on Instagram or whatever, you know, instead of just putting out something that's really rough.
Definitely.
Natural, so.
I think for me, the big switch for TikTok, which has made like is the best thing and the weirdest thing about it, is the fact that it puts the content in front of you without you having to look for it. Like with like obviously Twitter and Instagram and that, you find an account and you follow it, and so you know that it's there. So like for you, if you post on Instagram, on the Deco Instagram, you know you've got however many, you know, thousands of people that want to see it. Whereas on TikTok, you're almost posting to like no one. Like, I know people follow it, but the big numbers come from like the For You page and stuff. So you've got to like target no one and like try and put something out that generalizes a bit more. So I guess that's like, it's like the difference is that you probably know what your fans like, but it's trying to adapt to that like mainstream thing, innit, and make it a little bit more relevant.
Yeah. And I think I had a bit of like a disagreement with my flatmate about it actually. Like it's I until this point I'd found it a struggle to kind of make it clear that we're like a band. But I was putting up stuff that wasn't really relevant to our music. So how the hell are people going to know that we're a band if they're just watching this video of me being stupid? You know, it's got no kind of relation. So I don't understand how it's helping our band. You know,
no, it's helping.
Whereas he was like, whereas he pointed out that, you know, people want to be more involved and they want to see what you're like as a person, I guess.
Yeah.
And if they're really interested, they're going to delve into your profile and then find out. So
it essentially helps with it makes the person that's on the screen a familiar face. So it's like almost like building a popularity for yourself. And if your band is what you're kind of like helping push, like for us, it's always the podcast. And if it's what that's helping you push, then they'll notice that because they start becoming more familiar with your face.
Exactly, yeah.
And like one of the other ones that's done it really well, Crawlers. I don't know whether you've seen their recent blow up on Instagram, but they've been using they've been using Instagram Reels, which is like
same
the same shit, just on Instagram. And they essentially were doing little bits and bobs about like what they'd wear to a gig, or what they'd if you like this type of music. You know, there's like a whole meme of where they're like, oh, hi, I'm so and so. Like, if you like this,
I have
hi.
seen this. Yeah.
So they did one of them with a Mother song, and it blew up like crazy on this Instagram Reels, like 1 million views, 170,000 likes. Like,
wow,
it was mad, and it took them up like 30,000 Instagram followers in a night.
Man, that is mad.
It's like, and the numbers are so absurd, and then they're just constantly posting like 3 videos a day now on that, and the algorithm picks up because they're on it more. People are recognizing their face, so they're on it more, and they just push it. It goes through the fucking roof.
Ours is a weird one. It's like it did one on Twitter to start with, and since then, TikTok and Instagram Reels, they're now going more crazy. Like, we hit 1 million views on the reel last night, and it just doesn't stop. We're gaining like 1,000 followers a day, and it's it's really weird how it's kind of 2 weeks later it's still going. It's not been like an instant overnight thing.
It's incredible, and I think that is the thing. And you guys are doing it really well, because and I was saying to Elle, I like the fact that I'm seeing, like, when you're tweeting out and like keeping engaged, you're trying to keep on top of the fact that we're a band, we have original music.
Yeah, we noticed that,
of a really high quality. But like, I hope
it's not too obvious.
No, but in a good way, because I think you have got to make it obvious to these people. Because, to be fair, if you stumble across that, as you say, you'll be like, that's really cool, but it's so quick to keep moving. You've got to try and be like, wait, while you're here, we've got a lot of other stuff. And I think it's interesting that you've taken that actual like conscious decision to try and get it. Because at the end of the day, if in 2 weeks' time it all goes a bit dead and no one's came and followed, your Spotify and listened to the songs, and I guess for you, you'd feel a bit like, you want to make something of it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, historically, we've never really enjoyed doing covers or anything. I think the reason we enjoy this is because we're doing them in a different style, so it's still creative for us.
Yeah.
But we don't want to be a mashup band. We want to somehow remain like an authentic, credible band, even after all this somehow.
Definitely, yeah.
There's definite comical effects about these, so we've got to be careful not to cross the line. I feel anyway, but.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because we spoke with Blondes when they had their TikTok blow up, and it was quite similar, but it was just one of their actual songs blew up on TikTok, and
being used, wasn't it?
It's just being
that's the ideal situation.
Background, the ideal, but literally to the point where they didn't even have the app, knew nothing about it really, and then almost like mates started saying, and they looked at it and they were like, it's been used like 200,000 times. And
wow.
Now that song's on like nearly 2 million streams, when like they've got amazing. 2 other singles that have like 50,000. It's crazy, but they were the same. They were very like, we're so grateful for it, and the exposure is brilliant, but we want to just push people and say that we are not a TikTok sort of people. We are a band with top music.
Yeah, you got to try and extract every single thing out of it possible, basically.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So it's very difficult. Like, at one point we were saying, we're getting like 5,000 views a day on this reel, but we're only getting 5,000 likes a day on this reel, but we're only getting sort of 500 followers. How does that work? Like, how we need to start converting it, and we have somehow. I don't know how, but it just has started converting to followers. So yeah, I mean, it's all good, really.
Yeah, definitely. Have you go on now? We just started that question exactly the same as well. We do this too much.
It's kind of starting to show that we spend most nights doing this. What I was going to ask was, like, have you found it, like, getting them to actually go to the music? How has that been for you? Like, what sort of things have you tried to either do, or what's the conversion rate of your millions of views that you're getting on the, like, mashups to actually your newest EP or whatever? How's the views or the listens compared?
Probably, I don't know, like 10% maybe, but I mean, that's better than nothing.
Yeah, better than kicking the teeth, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell at the minute, because it's still only 2 weeks, and I think, like, your monthly listeners only update sort of only every sort of 3 days or something on Spotify, so it's really difficult to kind of see. but I mean, the way we've been doing it is, I guess we've got like it's almost like a link tree kind of thing for all the platforms. You know, we can push the Spotify link, but then not everyone's on Spotify. So we've got all of them on there. And also with the YouTube's been a good one because that's just happened naturally because suggested videos of ours come up after the mashup ones. So I like all of our YouTube videos have gone up by a few thousand views each video just because they've been on it and it's been suggested to them. So that's the good thing about YouTube. It's the power of it. People just sort of sit there all day watching videos, don't they? So.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think YouTube's a platform that is, especially for bands and artists, they find it's very underrated for sure. Like you can put tracks up on there, but like also having stuff that is a little bit more personable as well really does help.
Yeah, I feel like we definitely haven't used it enough, and it's almost like we've almost had to have something that's done well on YouTube for us to then benefit from it, I guess. So I guess you either come up with something that's really kind of well, I guess that's what we've done. You record a video and then all views then get lots of attention. So I guess that's the way it works.
Yeah, for sure. I like that. So now, like you spoke about your manager a lot. Have you now, like when all this sort of kicked off, were you sort of grateful? Like, did they have then a bit of an influence on be like, right, calm down. This is what we need to do. This is how we're going to deal with it. And did he have a bit of an influence, or has it just been like on your own back still?
No, like Luke, who's literally my right-hand man, really. Like the other guys in the band, to be honest with you, everyone since this is all blown up, everyone's been just on it, like really good. But in terms of like general day-to-day stuff, prior to that, and just generally like me and the manager, Luke, the two that are kind of really driving things forward. And then everyone's got their own kind of purpose in the band. And I think if everyone was like that, then it wouldn't work. So yeah, he was on it straight away. You know, if we didn't have a manager or anything, like we've got a really good team around us. And like, you know, he was able to kind of deal with all the label interests and all that kind of stuff, and all the social media. You know, he did a huge amount of like replying and all that kind of thing, just because we couldn't cope with it all. So yeah, we're very lucky to have had sort of kind of a good team before this happened. Otherwise, we would never be able to make the most out of it. You know, I feel like it could have been one of those situations where in 2 weeks it would have just been flat again. So yeah.
Definitely, I think that's really good. And have you felt like, has it been a little bit hard to deal with thinking about how many people are viewing that? Because in my head, like if one of our videos suddenly had 3 million views, I'd be like, hell, that's a lot of people looking at us right now. Like a little bit.
Yeah. What do we do?
I'd disappear for a bit, I think, and be like, oh my God. Do you know what I mean? It's a lot. Have you found it a lot, or has it just been, okay, this is good, let's keep going, you know, and not really thinking about it too much?
Not thought about it, but that's, I think, one, because of lockdown. So it's not like you're not going out in the street and someone's saying anything really.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And also, I've moved. I was moving house the week that it blew up. So I've had all that to kind of contend with. So yeah, it's just been really hectic, and everything's been kind of go. So it's not like I've really not stopped to kind of think about, you know, that it is. I suppose it is a bit weird that lots of people have seen my face.
Yeah. I didn't mean to bring it on to you. This is how I said you. I didn't.
Thanks, mate. I've got nothing to worry about.
He just starts sweating and panting.
Oh my God.
I never thought about it like that.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, I feel like if you're a singer in a band and you find that odd, it's probably not the right thing for you.
That's true. That's very true.
It's got to be your goal almost, isn't it? To some extent.
No, you know, you've got to just be able to try and cope with it. I mean, it was very overwhelming, but it wasn't necessarily the thought of people looking at me. It was more of the kind of, I can't deal with like all these people responding and all the kind of things that were associated with it, like, you know, having to kind of read through record contracts and all that kind of stuff. It's all been very kind of, because for a lot of bands, you know, I'm not made to look through a contract. You know, I'm not like, I can't words. It doesn't go in,
Yeah.
I'm a creative, so it's good to have that. We're lucky to have that kind of team around us to be able to do that. My girlfriend, she works in like rights and royalties.
Oh, sick!
Nice.
And that's been a big kind of thing with this mashup. If we were to ever release it, which is obviously kind of in the process, might not happen, might happen. There was a big. We needed to make sure that we were able to get the rights we were owed, because obviously I performed everything on that track, so therefore I can still get royalties for it. Whereas Noel Gallagher and the Bronski Beat guys would get the writing royalties, and I wouldn't get any of that, because obviously that's not. I didn't do any of the writing for that track. But yeah.
So is that how it's good to? Sorry. Okay.
I'm saying it's good to kind of have that help.
Yeah, definitely.
As well, because a lot of bands wouldn't. I think I'm interested to find out how it all works with the sea shanty guy. He got signed pretty quickly, and I want to know what's in that contract that he might not have thought about. I don't know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We definitely have the same problem with the reading of the contracts and stuff between me and Joe. If we ever got handed anything from like a provider, Joe would have to read it.
I'd give it a good go.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. It'd go straight over my head. It would not. I'd read it. I'd be like, Joe, can you simplify, please?
It's scary, isn't it? Because they can put whatever they want in it, and it doesn't matter. I could probably read it and be like, yeah, but there's little subtext, little like bylaws they could put in that you'd be like, no idea what it means, and then it comes down to it, and they've fucked you over. So it's it's a big thing.
Yeah, I mean, luckily, the label that we've been working with the last couple of weeks, they're really good. It's fairly standard for a major label, the stuff that they've got in the contract, and because we've like our manager got like a lawyer on board straight away, music lawyer, so it's all been very smooth, really. But yeah, we'll see what happens now.
Yeah, it's exciting.
So what is next then? What is happening with Deco and their original music?
So we were going to be releasing something at the end of Feb, but we've cancelled that just because we don't know what's going to happen with this mashup. But if it goes out, then it's obviously like a chart campaign. If it doesn't go out, then we need to kind of negotiate with the label to try and convince the label to take us on purely for our own stuff. Mm-hmm. And if that happens, we'll probably go to their studios and do some writing with the writers and stuff like that. But yeah, we've got like 20 songs that we recorded last summer, so we've got a big backlog of songs ready to go either way. So it's kind of, obviously we've built a following with this. So I feel like if we release one of our songs independently now, it'll still do better than it would have done 3 weeks ago. So I'm kind of happy really with whatever the scenario is.
Yeah. I like that. I think it's do you feel any pressure now to think maybe you've had this chance to gain a big following, and maybe your next moves can sort of make or break a little bit? Like, do you feel like you've got to take advantage, or is it, as you said, like it's not going to do worse, so it doesn't really matter?
Yeah, I think it's important not to kind of think about it too much, because I feel like people, like our guitarist John, wasn't that keen on this Angels mashup.
Right.
Yeah. But I was thinking at this point, I feel like people are that invested in these mashups that it will do. A lot of people will like it. A few people might not. It'll be the same, because everyone's got their own opinion, right? And it's,
of course.
So it's, yeah, I'm trying not to put too much pressure on it. I mean, I was obviously, if the mashup can't go out, then I'll obviously be gutted, because I feel like genuinely, we've had some big names behind that. Like Good Morning Britain guys. If we need someone to kind of campaign for it to get to number one, we couldn't have like a bigger program to kind of get behind it.
That's insane.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I feel like genuinely it could do really, really well if it goes out. But if it doesn't, then we've got to just think of a plan B. Well, we've already thought of a plan B and a plan C to kind of still make the most out of it and exploit everything we can from the video. So, yeah. You're
in a good place. You are in a very, very good place.
Yeah.
I feel excited about it. It's nothing to do with us, but it's just sick, isn't it?
It is.
Cool.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. So back onto like actually your music, because I want to try and get into a little bit more of explaining to the people that are listening to us, which is definitely not the same amount of eyes that are on you at the minute. But to try and explain a little bit more about like what your influences are for your unique songs, as well as what the writing process is like for yourselves.
Well, we're all on the same wavelength, kind of, or generally speaking, with like what we're inspired by. Like we're all into kind of 80s music, and a lot of the newest stuff that's out into the new bands, we're all kind of follow the same things as well. There's a few differences which make it good, because if we all liked exactly the same things, it'd probably be a bit boring. But we're all into kind of I guess John's more into kind of 80s indie, like like the Smiths and all that kind of stuff, whereas I'm probably kind of more new romantic era, like Duran Duran and all that kind of stuff. So, and then I guess in terms of the process, it kind of changes, because like historically I've always written like the bulk of a song, and then the guys would help develop it. But then in lockdown, we were in the first lockdown together, and we wrote them together, and that was the first time we'd really ever done that, and it worked really well. Like, we feel like we've got some of the best stuff, but we haven't actually released it yet. So I guess at the minute we're apart, so we're writing away again. So it's kind of just we can kind of mix it up a bit. I think it's probably the best way, because after 2 months of writing together, like we were doing two songs a day at one point, and then it like became like a song a week by the end. So we soon got bored of working together.
It's also creative burnout too. You find if you like that, your brain just stops thinking of things after a while. It just you hit a wall, don't you? And you got to just take a couple of days off. Yeah,
exactly. And being together for that amount of time, we were like living and working together essentially. So it's quite intense. We're definitely not all the same. Like we definitely have our differences, which is I think it's a good thing, but not when you're living together in lockdown. It's not
yeah, definitely. Have you found that you've sort of landed on your sound fully? Because I know you've been obviously about for a few years now, but a lot of bands that we speak to, you can tell that they sort of trying a lot of different things over the years and trying to find it. But I think the good thing with yours is that all the way through, although maybe it's evolved a bit, you've got that real unique sound like nailed down. So do you feel like now you can go in and think, we know how to write a Deco song?
Yeah, I think it probably just naturally comes out like that, rather than like trying to write. I mean, sometimes you can fall in the trap of trying to write a Deco song, and that's not very good. That's not a good thing. Like, but it's definitely got more 80s, which I think we were kind of not holding back, but we always wanted to try and have like a modern edge. But we've kind of just not given up on that. We just try not to let that affect or sway us too much, because I think it ultimately maybe like restricts the songs. Sometimes you can go full on 80s with it and then hold back, and the song won't be as good because you haven't gone that extra step. Because you're conscious of it being too 80s or whatever. But we've just kind of tried to let what comes out come out, basically. To not sound too cliche.
No, not at all. I like that. I think it's something we sort of noticed, like we said before, that maybe the early ones were a little bit more indie, but I was like, the more like that Real Life EP and the more recent stuff, even from what's been out, I said like this, it's not even like 80s inspired. It's like this could have come out in the 80s and wouldn't look out of place. Sure. Do you know what I mean? So you did go like full on with it. But as you say, I think it's like, if that's how it comes out, then go for it. And then it sounds even better for it.
I think what it was, I think my voice has always been very 80s. And I think the music early on was a bit more indie, maybe, I don't know. And now it's sort of changed to kind of match the vocals. But I guess it's just, it's like what we like. So I guess it just comes out naturally, I suppose.
It's a natural progression as well as realising what you find fits your voice and how you lot play the music and stuff as well. Like if you're going to be listening to 80s all the time, it is going to have that like real boxing or influence on you, because what you're surrounded by is what you create, isn't it?
I feel like the way I see it in my head, like there's always a year delay from what I listen to and what comes out, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And how, because it doesn't come out straight away. I feel like for some people it might say if you're listening to Drake or something, then it will come out as Drake the next day. But for some reason, I went through a real phase of listening to Michael Jackson and all his back catalogue in 2016, and then it started to come out sort of last year.
Yeah,
really weird. Yeah,
that's interesting. I guess it just gets lodged in your subconscious a bit, and then
I think that's it. Yeah,
that's interesting. I like that. I don't know if you've just confirmed a Drake 80s mashup coming next from Deco, but I'm not sure.
No, we were thinking about doing a slightly, because obviously we've been doing 90s tunes, which I feel like it might pigeonhole us a little bit, because a lot of the people that have been liking these mashups have been a little bit older to our usual audience, which I think is good. Without sounding too business minded, those are the guys that spend the money on music. That's listen to, Radio 2 is the biggest station.
Definitely.
If we get played on that, then you get listened to by more people. It's definitely, in terms of building a career out of it, there's no kind of right or wrong with who your audience is, really. So we're kind of just sort of trying to be easygoing about that. But we're thinking about maybe doing something, like an Ed Sheeran song or something. I don't know, mix with an 80s song. That could be quite fun.
Yeah, and Ed Sheeran would be a good look at. Or Little Mix. Got that? Is that on the horizon? Little Mix are always big.
Yeah, maybe they're on the same booking agent, so maybe we could get them to collab with us. I don't know.
No, that would be huge.
that would blow out the water. I think that'd take something on a completely different level. I think if the collaboration with Little Mix would be unbelievable.
Yeah, I'll talk to our manager. Actually, it's a good idea. Just that.
There you go.
We'll have 20%.
Yeah, we're in the process.
I'll get the contract sent over to you, manager.
No more contracts this week.
Edit, yeah. Definitely. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I think that's that story sort of set in, isn't it? It's so interesting.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know what the hell's going to happen next. So let's just see.
Ride the wave, innit? I think.
The exciting part of it as well, of just trying to you've managed to get this real lucky break to some extent, and because the work's so fucking good, it should hold some more structure than some of these viral videos that go viral and they just go viral for viral sake. Do you know what I mean? They catch the wave, but because there's actually something to it and you've put the work in, it should hold a little bit better. Yeah,
I'm hoping so. I feel like that's one thing I did think. We're lucky that we've got this kind of back catalogue on Spotify and all this kind of stuff, because if people have got somewhere to go and it helps cement your thing. Whereas if you're purely TikTok and all your content is on TikTok, then the people haven't got anywhere else to go other than that.
Yeah, it's
and I haven't done my research, but I'm not sure if the sea shanty guy was an artist before this. I really don't know.
Yeah,
it was just it was a thought that I'd had. How is he going to sustain it all? I mean, he obviously is, because he's got millions and millions of followers.
Yeah,
views.
That's nuts, isn't it?
But it's whether he's anything. Has he got anything to be kind of cashing in on it with? Basically,
using what's he gonna give next, or what are people going to be able to look back? Because when you have a viral video, these YouTubers that have a viral video, 9 times out of 10 they've always been plugging beforehand. They've had they've got some other videos that people can then look back at and go, oh, he's always been funny, or she's always been funny. And now they're like, oh shit, I'm going to stick about now. Whereas if all he's got is the sea shanty, you're going to almost struggle to keep that in the limelight.
Yeah, but I think I've seen him doing more contemporary music covers since then. So I think he's kind of slowly converting away from the sea shanty. It's not going to last forever, that kind of thing. No. And it's the same with us as well. We've eventually got to try and get people onto our own music before people get bored of mashups. Same thing.
I think I'm glad that you picked 80s for it though, because it fits your sound of your original stuff too. It would be an easier transition to maybe if you were some of these artists or YouTubers or something, they drop a hip hop album, or they drop a hip hop thing, and their thing that's gone viral has been them singing with a guitar, but they've now got this rap thing going. And it doesn't quite. The transition's much harder because you're forcing people to listen to something that they've never heard before.
It definitely helps that we've got that. But people have been asking if we're going to play the Wonderwall thing live. which I really want to. But the funny thing is, like, I've had like a few like vocal issues. It's not like nothing's wrong with my throat. It's like the muscles in my throat have been getting quite tight, like just through stress and various things like that. And it's been affecting the way my voice has been performing. Like generally speaking, it's been making my voice a lot shitter. But for some reason in the Wonderwall video, it sounds more strange and more haunting, I suppose, because it sounded like more kind of husky. Maybe, I don't really know.
Sounded a little bit more 80s because everyone smoked, maybe, and it was like it had that vibe to it.
But yeah, so I'm now thinking, how the hell am I going to do that voice now live? But I should be fine. I'll just make sure I get really stressed before a gig, and then
that should
pack of LBs I think will do you all right.
Do that. Gravel, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I think that's how Liam Gallagher got his voice in the 90s. So L&Bs and
probably.
So I think that helped.
Yeah, probably also what got rid of it, but
yeah, true. It's like a short window, isn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. Right. Well, I think we're getting to a point in the show where we normally go into our scenario questions to get to know a little bit more about yourself and also the band that you have around you. So cool. I'm going to ask you a few questions that are based around a scenario, which is purely hypothetical, but you have to give us what band member would be most fit for this scenario.
Okay.
So, for example, it would be like like building a house. Who's going to be most likely to build a house? But
okay,
a little bit
slightly more interested in that.
Not as plain and boring as that.
I already know the answer to that one.
So what options have we got? Can you give us the names of the band members before we start?
So there's me, Max, John, who's a guitarist, John, who's the bassist, but I'm going to call him Steel to make it easier.
Beautiful.
And Thomas, our drummer, and then Lucy, who plays sax for us on some songs.
Sick.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one I've got, you've obviously been a band for a long while now, but someone in the band has been keeping a secret. It's been a very weird year. Everyone's started to show their true colours, and you start to realise something's really off with one of the members. It comes out that one of the members is actually a lizard. They're like a lizard man from the future. Okay. Which one of the band is it most likely going to be?
I'm going to say Thomas, because we all know him the least, so it probably wouldn't be such a surprise.
I like that. Yeah, maybe you'd be like, oh yeah, okay, didn't know that.
Yeah. I can probably see it. Yeah.
Right. So the next one I've got, Bojo, good old Boris Johnson. The world's gone more to shit than it already is. We're in a horrific scenario, and the only way that he's able to kind of get something going is by doing a Hunger Games situation.
Okay.
Everyone in the band is entered into this Hunger Games, and it's a full arena of a battle royale style thing. Who is the person who is going to last the longest, and who's going to put the person that's going to last the least?
I'd probably last the longest.
You'd last the longest?
I think so.
How come? Just got your head screwed on with stuff like
that. Willpower, I think.
Okay.
Possibly. And then I reckon Steel would probably not last the longest.
How come?
He gets cold incredibly easily.
You're joking.
He kind of sometimes hurls up in a ball if he's too cold. So, purely for that reason, he'd probably freeze to death.
He'd probably struggle.
First night, you just find him curled up in a ball somewhere, and you'd be like, yeah, you lose. Fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he wouldn't even die from the Hunger Games or someone killing him. It'd just be
just give up,
perished. Right. So the boat that you are on has crashed. It's sunk. The whole band has been washed up on an abandoned island. There's nothing else there apart from you lot and animals and food and shit. You've got yourself into a good set. You've built a shack. You're got a fire going, there is food knocking about, and you're in a nice situation. On a Sunday afternoon, you've all gone for a walk in different directions. Which one of the band is most likely to come back with a pet?
The pet?
Yeah.
Lucy.
Lucy?
Yeah. She likes animals. It's a really boring answer, but...
Yeah. I mean, you are right, to be fair.
That does help.
I like that. Well, there we go.
I've got one.
Oh, you got one more.
One more. Oh, no.
Extra one this week.
Is this the best one?
Yeah.
Treating. I thought I had a little thing, and I think it's very relevant as well, actually, to what's been going on. So you've had the delight to meet Mr. Liam Gallagher.
Okay.
Whether it's because of this thing that you've got going on, the mashup stuff, or whether it's because of just a random bumping into him in the boozer somewhere.
Okay.
But I want to know
that's what happened.
Yeah.
Actually, that's happened, but carry on.
Has it actually?
Yeah.
Oh God, you got to tell us a story. I'll carry on, but we've got to hear that story.
I was on the way to play tennis with my mate a few years ago, and he was outside a boozer.
Was he?
Talking to some kid, I don't even know. And yeah, I think we stopped and kind of said hello and said, "Do you mind if we have a photo?" And yeah, talking to Djokovic and stuff and who won Wimbledon. It was a bit random.
That is a mad conversation to have with Liam Gallagher.
I know, yeah. He's like, yeah, Djokovic, yeah. It wasn't particularly like a intellectual conversation or anything.
No, I can't imagine.
It was good. It was fun. It was good. Seemed like a nice guy.
I like that. Well, that might make the answers a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So I want to know who from the band would Liam Gallagher potentially find the coolest? He'd enjoy the company of the most, and who is the most likely to make a cock of themselves in front of him?
I'm probably the most likely to make a cock of myself.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah, and then because I'll probably just try too hard, and then John will probably be the coolest because he enjoys that. He enjoys playing hard to get.
Nice.
In so many ways.
Nice, brilliant. Well, that is now the end of the scenario question.
There you go.
Cool. That was fun.
Good, cool. I'm glad. It's something that we're trying to do that's a little bit different that people might not necessarily get in a standard interview.
That is the first time one of the scenarios has actually happened, though. That is a new one. That is very impressive from you. I'll give you that.
Yeah, that was ages ago. That was.
That's mad. That is crazy. So the last little section that we do towards the end of this podcast is where we talk to the interviewee, and ask them who they're listening to at the minute that's an up and coming band that they needs to go towards. What they're doing is something you're really enjoying and that you want other people to listen to.
Okay. Oh God, you really put me on the spot here. I feel like I need to look at my Spotify.
Yeah,
okay,
we can go first. And then,
we'll go first, and then you can come in at the end with a nice one. Okay. I have to admit, I've got to look a little bit too. But
do you want me to go first? Okay, I wanted to give a shout out to Spyres, who are a band that are knocking about at the moment. Is that like you were going to do them as well?
That was one of the ones I was going to do. Yeah,
yeah. They were in that Brits and Pieces album that is quite a big thing that happened sort of in the indie music community with like 18 unsigned bands got put on a compilation and it got a charting position and everything, and it was really sick. And they are one from there that have sort of had a little bit of a blow up since. They've only got 3 tracks, but their newest one is really, really good. It's like sort of it's like indie rock, but it's female fronted in it, and it's just got that little bit of an edge to it as well. Cool. So like when it gets into the chorus, it's got that bit of
it's towards crawlers-ish, isn't it? It's a bit more like heavier rock and roll instead of it being like just like twinkly guitars and stuff. So
it's got a little bit more of an edge to it. But I just think it's sick, and I like the fact that they've started to really get the ball rolling with like the sort of numbers they should be hitting, but they still needed a lot more. So I wanted to give them a shout out. But yeah, Spyres, they're sick.
Cool.
Nice.
Cool. I've got 2 quick ones because
treat yourself.
I don't know too much about the bands because they're still quite small. Mm-hmm. And one of them's one you showed me the other day. Joe, and it's a band called Jackup, and they've released a song called Suzanne, and it's all in a foreign language. I want to say it's Norwegian, but it might not be. But it's pop punk American style, but it's from Scandinavia area. And it's even though like I don't understand the fucking word they're saying, it sounds good. And I think that's the key part of music. 9 times out of 10, I don't actually care what they're saying to some extent, unless it really sits with me. So the fact it's in a foreign language.
I'm kind of similar.
Yeah. It's one of the ones where like, even though it's in a foreign language, like I have a massive thing for that. Angel, she's got an album called Brawl, who's a Belgian but French singer. And she's unbelievable. But I quite like the fact that I don't know what's being said. So I'm hoping it's nothing horrifically racist or anything.
I don't think it is.
But, can you imagine? It's just like a culty song.
Just hate. It's just full of hate.
I feel like a lot of mine are like, they're not necessarily brand new bands, but just bands that I think that have done something good in the last kind of. So I'm quite enjoying how a band called Cassia, who I'm sure you've heard of, Cassia.
Yeah, Cassia.
They've like, I was always wondering, because we've played with them quite a lot. And it's very kind of like beachy, Vampire Weekendy kind of style. And I was always intrigued to like see what they did after that, because I feel like they nailed it with the sound, and they had some really amazing songs to go with it. But I was really interested to see like how they developed, and kind of, so obviously I felt like they probably couldn't do that forever, that sound. And they've come back with this like really cool sound. It's kind of Mac DeMarco kind of vibe, and I think it's just nice. It's kind of really cemented their kind of them as an artist. I think that's it now. You know, they're like a really credible band. You know, they've got past album 1, started releasing new music, which is really kind of authentic and really good. It's not just, I mean, their early stuff's really, really good. And they probably agree. They're probably like, you know, it's kind of, you know, very festival-y kind of summery kind of vibe.
Bit Rex Orange County-ish sort of thing.
Kind of, yeah. But their new stuff is equally as like upbeat and uplifting, but it's slightly more mature. So I think they've nailed it. So that's one. And then another one. I'm trying to think who. I really like Toro y Moi. I don't know if you know him.
Oh no.
But he's like, I don't even know his real name, but he's like, it's like just an artist name, obviously Toro y Moi. But all of his albums are totally different. Cool. With each album, he explores different genres.
Okay.
So whether it's kind of 80s style, kind of R&B, or like some of his newer stuff is more kind of 60s. It's really cool. I think that's like a really brave thing to do as an artist. But yeah, I don't feel like he loses any listeners by doing different stuff. I feel like it just gives the listeners, he almost opens windows for the listeners.
Yeah.
So like, you know, say if they like the more 60s stuff, but they've come from the R&B stuff, then it's like they now like the 60s music because it's opened new doors to them. So yeah, I like him for that. So I've been listening to a lot of that recently.
That's really cool.
That is very cool, actually. I like the fact that he's doing stuff that's different every time. I think it's a really important way as an artist is that progression where you can delve through it. It kind of shows like having a good album isn't the same to being a good artist. I think when you can do quite a lot, I think like Arctic Monkeys cemented themselves in that when they released Tranquility, because they were able to go from one scale to then Suck It and See it being a little bit harder, to then AM, which was very American, to then now this Tranquility Base, which is essentially just a lounge album. And it's like, and they're all still good. I think that's
exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Toro y Moi guy's been around for ages. And he's had like 5-6 albums, but I feel like more people should know about him.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
He's pretty big. So
yeah, still.
That's perfect, mate. Perfect.
Lovely stuff. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
It has.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, nice way to spend the start of my Sunday evening. Thank you very much for having me.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
Appreciate it, especially in the midst of probably one of the busiest weeks of your life. You taking an hour out to speak to us. It's much appreciated. I bet it's been mental. So
thanks for having me. It's been good. It's been good fun.
No worries, mate.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. And if you haven't checked Deco out and you haven't heard of them yet, make sure you go check out their original stuff. They've got some good mashups on Twitter. Yeah, it's good, but it ain't as good as their original stuff. So make sure you're getting over to their Spotify because that's where it properly counts. So go over there, check them out. Make sure you keep your eye out for any singles and stuff that they get releasing once the record label stuff has been settled. And hopefully we'll be looking forward to seeing you live when the old doors come back open.
Yeah, for sure. We've got some socially distant shows in May, which hopefully will happen. So
cool.
Fingers crossed we'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good, mate.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for listening. It has been a pleasure. And make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the other side. Peace.